This is a continuous graze out wheat field with a summer grazing component. And so this field is grazed for about 6 months on the wheat side, and then we run cattle on this for 2 months in the summertime, and that's been going on for the last 2 years. And generally when we talk about compaction and no-till and grazing, I'm a little apprehensive to suggest to someone that they do what we've done on this field, but it's actually worked out pretty well. We have, we started grazing the first, we no-tilled into a graze out wheat field, and they've been no-tilling ever since. And I say I'm a little apprehensive to recommend that because some soils don't respond very well. In fact, right below my feet is an example of a small area of soil in this otherwise pretty successful field where we haven't had a good establishment of the wheat yet. We've actually planted this for a second time. In contrast, the rest of the field, we have a really nice stand of wheat. And this was planted about 30 days after the termination of the crabgrass that was on this field this summer. And by the reason I mentioned this soil below us is this is a sandier type sandy loam soil. And then the great deal of the field is a fairly nice loam. These sandy soils, once they become bare and they don't have, if they don't have a lot of root growth and like root pores in them, they can become very dense and very problematic. And so that's a soil where if I had an entire field, I would probably be apprehensive about putting cattle on it the first few years of no-tilling until I can develop some root channels and some more stable organic matter that would hold it open. In contrast, just right here where we have a pretty good stand of wheat, it seems like we can do it fairly successfully. And then some other things you see, if you look real closely, is right here, that's a cattle path. And so these are all things that guys could observe if they ever try to no-till in a grazing system. It can be very successful. About I'd say 90%, 95% of this field has been successfully established with a no-till drill this season. But you do have these small areas, and that's very hard and very dense. And I can't jump on it and get a shovel in the ground. And if you look at that soil, it's very dry. And it's a problem. In contrast, right next to it, I have nice moist soil. But like I say, and that is why I'm very apprehensive in suggesting that someone go into a no-till system with grazing the first year. We want to accumulate some residue, and we want to accumulate some structure in that soil before we do it. And I'll reiterate this: you want to maintain residue, because we think that condition where the soil is dry and hard is compaction, and it is a form of compaction. And when we dig in it, it very much looks like compaction because the ground is hard. But if I were to actually measure the density of that soil, it's probably not that much different than the moist soil behind me or to my side. The reason it is hard and perceived as compacted is because it's dry. And it's dry because it's crusted, and it's crusted because it's bare. And multiple years, this area was probably bare after the first crop we planted here, and it's been that way since. So it's a problem that's accumulated over time, and it'll just get worse. And what you'll see where guys have just continuously grazed a field completely bare, crop after crop, is the entire field looks that way, and it's a disaster. And from a no-till perspective, and they will ultimately run a chisel or something through it to break that up.